Winnicott was born in Plymouth in 1896. He had two sisters, but was the only son of a Methodist middle-class family. Winnicott was the first paediatrician to train as a psychoanalyst in England. He worked as a consultant in children's medicine at Paddington Green Children's Hospital in London and had an empathy for working with children. He married twice, meeting his second wife, a social worker, when he worked with her on the Second World War evacuation programme. Winnicott played a critical role in educating the public around raising children. He delivered over 600 talks for the BBC, lectured around the UK and authored 15 books, including the bestseller Home is Where We Start From. Home is Where We Start From was a collection of essays that spoke about Winnicott's mature thoughts on early infancy and the mother-child relationship, feminism and freedom, depression and delinquency, the pill, the monarchy, mental health and the meaning of democracy. Winnicott was world famous for his work with children. His views on childhood, child rearing, and what was in the best interests of the child ran counter to the dominant views of the time. In 1939, Winnicott, along with two psychiatrists, Bowlby and Miller, wrote a letter to the British Medical Journal. The letter explained why the evacuation of small children between the ages of 2 and 5 during the Second World War caused major psychological problems due to the child's separation from a secure and stable environment and loving parents. In 1954 on BBC Radio, Winnicott argued against the idea that babies cry to get attention or that sending 7-year-olds to boarding school might be a good idea so as to toughen them up. Winnicott also stated that a child must be allowed to express its anger. He asserted that normal children, who had been properly loved by their parents, felt secure in that love, and that therefore parents needed to remain calm and unhurt in order to allow aggressive and/or violent feelings from a child to its parents to be expressed without there being a fear of retribution or a danger of damage to the relationship. In Winnicott's words, "What is a normal child like? Does he just eat and grow and smile sweetly? No, that is not what he is like. The normal child, if he has confidence in mother and father, pulls out all the stops. In the course of time, he tries out his power to disrupt, to destroy, to frighten, to wear out, to waste, to wangle, and to appropriate. At the start, he absolutely needs to live in a circle of love and strength, with consequent tolerance, if he is not to be too fearful of his own thoughts and of his imaginings to make progress in his emotional developments." Winnicott viewed the role of the psychoanalyst as a substitute parent, a proxy, good enough figure. He asserted that the psychoanalyst should listen and allow the patient to get better at their own speed, and that a cure should not be forced on the patient, but that the psychoanalyst should provide a safe space to enable the patient to recreate or rehearse bits of childhood that were not helpful to them as an adult. Winnicott's views on psychological interventions were also progressive for his time, and he believed that a doctor should practice inactive observation to become a sympathetic witness to a child's distress through appreciative understanding, rather than the historical approach of a doctor interpreting and feeding back his client's distress. Winnicott was one of the pioneers of the object relations school of thought. Broadly speaking, object relations is the process of developing a persona in relation to others in the environment during childhood. It suggests that the way people relate to others and situations in their adult lives is shaped by family experiences during infancy. Images of people and events turn into objects in the subconscious that the person carries into adulthood, and they are used by the subconscious to predict people's behaviour in their social relationships and interactions. In Winnicott's eyes, every failure of the environment forced a child to adapt prematurely. For example, if a children's parents are too chaotic, the child quickly tries to overthink the situation. The child's rational capabilities are overstimulated. In Winnicott's words, "Tell me what you fear and I will tell you what has happened to you." Winnicott developed the concept of good enough parenting, recognizing that it was unhelpful and unrealistic to demand perfection of parents, as this undermines the efforts of the vast majority of parents who are in all practical respects good enough to meet their children's needs. The holding environment was the idea that a mother's love for her child, as expressed through holding, bathing, feeding and caring for her baby, enabled a baby to securely experience its healthy development in relation to a continuously broadening circle of family, school and social life. Winnicott had a messy view of childhood, stating that good children who follow their parents' rules may be in danger of developing a false self. In his view, children needed to be able to explore the darker side of their emotions, including selfishness and hate. A child that became outwardly compliant or good, but was suppressing its desires, was not able to manage its social and its destructive sides, and had therefore created a defensive structure. If, due to a lack of empathy and or care from the mother, the child is forced to create a false self that meets the mother's needs, not the child's own, the more the child will come to feel that his or her true self isn't appreciated, and the more the false self will become dominant. The goal of therapy through this lens is to enable the individual to experience and express a true self. Winnicott viewed playing as the foundation of creativity, enabling the discovery of the self. He asserted that all human culture, including science, religion and the arts, was a highly developed form of playing. Playing was something that happened in the interface between our inner world and external reality. Therefore, playing neither takes place strictly in our imagination, nor in the truly external world, i.e., that which is out of our control. Playing happens in that space where our imagination is able to shape the external world without the experience of compliance, climax, or too much anxiety. Winnicott asserts that if there is a need to perform or to achieve a standard, then the desire to achieve eradicates any experience of play. He also says that if there is too much anxiety, at a certain point the level of fear and or anxiety will destroy the playing. Winnicott encouraged his adult clients to play as part of their therapeutic experience. In Winnicott's words, "It is in playing, and only in playing, that the individual child or adult is able to be creative and to use the whole personality, and it is only in being creative that the individual discovers the self."